Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Growth 10. You may be wondering, well, who is Growth 10? Creason and I joined what is now Alt 8. Creason was employee number 1 in July last year. I was employee number 2, and I started in August. And in doing my prep, I'm quite risk averse, so maybe identified with many auditors in the group. And in doing my prep to join a new organization, I did a lot of research about Growth 10 and couldn't find too much on the internet. So who is Growth 10? Growth 10 is the holding company of Richfield, AAA School of Advertising, and our latest entity within the group is Alt Ed. So Richfield and AAA, for the context, deliver accredited learning experiences or qualifications to individuals. And then Alt Ed is essentially the corporate learning partner within Growth 10, and we partner with the likes of SNG. And I love this line of, I think it was innovation through lifelong learning. That's exactly what Alt Ed does. We deliver continuous learning to working professionals such as yourselves. And so we can take anything from within the Growth 10 ecosystem and design new bespoke learning journeys specifically for you to ensure that you continue to innovate and embrace this idea of lifelong learning. We all know that the world is changing so incredibly quickly that if you're not continuously learning, you're going to be left behind. And an Alt Ed differentiates within the market the speed with which we can operate, the pragmatic nature of our learning experiences, as well as the breadth of all of our particular offerings. And we deliver these particular learning offerings in micro-learning pieces. We appreciate just how busy we all are, and we don't expect individuals to be in a formal, traditional learning environment such as this for extended periods of time. But we bring very powerful learning experiences to you at SNG and can deliver them in a much more digestible way, if I can call it that, so that we don't disrupt your lives, but you are continuously learning, and we embed learning experiences into the fabric of your daily lives. Another key differentiator of Alt Ed is this idea of social capital that I wanted to spend some time on today. Creason's probably tired of me hearing about this. Last year, I finished my master's with a specialization in corporate strategy, and my topic focused on the relevance of social capital in strategy implementation. And I've got a really strong passion for the connection between individuals, which what led me to this particular topic. So what is social capital? In my research, I spoke about how we all have maybe thousands of LinkedIn connections, but that's not social capital. Those are LinkedIn connections. We may extend business cards to one another at a conference and be very emotional after a keynote address and think, oh, this is wonderful, I'm going to exchange my business card with the speaker. And then nothing comes of that. But social capital is a trusting connection and a mutually beneficial connection. And what I would urge you to leverage off in this particular environment is this idea of building social capital. It is very, very powerful. We all know the power of networking. Social capital is really an appreciation for the benefit of strong networks within a business environment. Social capital has a business imperative, and I want to share some of the benefits. It improves trust and reputation. One of the reasons I was successful in obtaining this role as Director in Client Engagement at Alt Ed is because I have a trusting relationship with our CEO, SHEroes. I met her in a previous life. We worked together, not too closely, but we built a trusting relationship then. In fact, this is my third corporate gig. I told you I'm risk averse. I've been very loyal. I started off teaching in primary schools. I then moved into the AdviTech group, where I designed tertiary qualifications for their various brands. I was there for 7 years. So it's my fourth corporate gig. I then worked at a prominent business school for over a decade. And it was at that business school where I met Shireen, and then I made the connection to company. But each and every one of my gigs has been, I've obtained those gigs as a result of social capital. So it allows for improved trust and reputation. Of critical importance today, it allows for access to information. If you know the individuals in your organization, you know where to get information, you know what questions to ask, and
where to get answers.
And where to get answers. And you're able to access that information, you're able to serve the market quicker, and with a greater amount of accuracy. It allows for a great amount of collaboration and innovation. Those who are better connected within an organization or within a market are able to collaborate and innovate a lot quicker. So you talk about innovation through lifelong learning. If you add strong social capital to that, you're going to be able to innovate a lot better. Important in these times, I see there's Ptricios, our CA within our team, will appreciate that there's an overall 1% increase in VAT over the next 2 years. I heard on the radio this morning. Social capital helps reduce transaction costs. You become a much more efficient organization if you have strong social capital. If there are strong, trusting relationships, mutually beneficial relationships between each and every one of you at SNGs, you become more efficient. You get things done quicker with fewer costs. Market entry and expansion. We are deep in this at the moment. I have to tell you who Alt-Ed is because there's less awareness about Alt-Ed than there is about Richfield and AAA school advertising. We've had to leverage off our professional social capital to gain entry into the markets in which we want to play. And we're doing that relatively successfully. But it's because of that social capital that we are enabled to enter those particular markets and expand this Alt-Ed offering that we are very confident about. It improves employee recruitment and retention. And we are prime examples of this. We've both joined Alt-Ed as a result of our social capital. So you're able to retain employees. If you can demonstrate strong social capital within SNG, you're able to attract individuals to your organization better and retain those particular individuals better. It also helps with crisis resilience. If there's a trusting relationship amongst many individuals within your organization, you're able to manage crises a lot better. And now closely linked to my dissertation is that it improves the implementation and impact of strategy. It improves the implementation and impact of strategy. And there's a shift in the way strategy is being formulated and the way in strategy is being implemented. It used to be a very command and control type of way in which strategy was formulated. The exco would go away to Milton's Drift, eat 1 million mints, and come away with this wonderful thud factor strategy and then throw it at the organization and it will be implemented from the top down. And that's not how strategy is being formulated now. It's not how strategy is being implemented now. That was called the structural control view. It's moving towards the adaptive turn view now. And the adaptive turn view says that leadership is far more collaborative. Information is being sensed and sense-made from all areas of the organization. So whether you are a teller in a bank or the CEO of a bank, your input into that organization is is not equal, but it's is very relevant because you're seeing different things. The world is far more complex and complicated. Organizations are complex and complicated. We cannot only rely on an exco to sense make all the time. So information is harnessed from all areas of an organization. And because of that, the stronger your social capital, the better an organization is able to formulate a strategy and then implement that particular strategy. And I like to think of organizations as full human beings now. When we think about what we're going to wear in the morning, if it's slightly chilly, we don't only sense make because we've looked at the app on our phone, for example. We sense make with our whole organization, with our whole body. We're using all of our senses, however many of those are. And so as an organization, we're constantly sensing the environments in which we're operating. And we need to think of our organizations as whole human beings that are able to sense from all areas of the organization. But what's going to facilitate that is a very connected central nervous system. And the central nervous system, the nervous system doesn't only sit in your head. It doesn't only sit in your spine. That's the central nervous system, but it sits in all of the extremities of your body. And unless you're open to receiving information from all areas of your body or all areas of your organization, you're going to be left behind and you're going to move too quickly. But what enables that is this idea of social capital. And it's becoming a more and more accepted form of capital within an organization. Being auditors, you may have a preference for traditional types of capital. But I want you to think about today, when you're having a cup of coffee, when you're standing around in the pause area here that you've created, and you're sharing a plate of food or a cup of coffee, whatever it might be, what are those social connections that you're making? Because they're going to have a business impact for SNG. Stronger those connections that you make today. So again, we want to thank SNG for embracing our environment. At Audit, we want to create. So again, we want to thank SNG for embracing our environment. At Audit, we want to create these types of. Having flashbacks to COVID when we watch so many meetings and hear your own comments. So many meetings and hear your own
Apologies for that, but definitely we all have fun today. Yeah. Sorry, David.
And so when Audit designs our learning experiences, we do it from two perspectives. First of all, to meet the primary objectives of a particular learning intervention. So we're engaging with one of the big betting agencies in South Africa yesterday, and they're looking for a very specific skill set around Adobe. So when we design that learning experience, the primary goal is to improve their ability to use Adobe. But the secondary experience or purpose is to improve their social capital. And that's embedded into every single learning experience that Audit delivers. And it's because there's a strong business imperative for developing social capital and leveraging of social capital in organizations such as SNG. So when you're having that cup of coffee, don't underestimate the power of the connection. Don't go and only create, however many of you are there, 30 LinkedIn connections after today, but build on those connections because they will stand you personally in good stead, and they will stand SNG in good stead in the long term. So Ria and Nakona, thank you for embracing our environment at Growth 10 House and leveraging off Audit. We greatly appreciate the partnership. Thank you to SNG for embracing our space, and here's to developing strong social capital into the longer term.